What if everything you believe was a lie? What if the world was being controlled by dark forces that you can't even imagine? They don't want you to know that. But I'll show you. Find out the truth before it's too late. Your future depends on it. Prepare to question everything you believe you know. Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has faced crises, yes. But what we are experiencing now, it's different. Wars, pandemics, natural disasters, economic collapses, all happening at the same time. A perfect storm brewing before our eyes. Are we heading towards the abyss? Is the end really near? Are you still processing all of this? I know it's a lot of information, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to dive deeper into this investigation, discover the missing pieces, and prepare for what's to come, do the following. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos with new revelations and analysis on global crises and prophecies. Leave your like. Show that you are awake and engaged in this search for truth. Your like is a sign that we should continue to investigate. Comment below. What is your biggest concern about the future? What signs have you noticed in the world around you? Share your opinion, and let's build this discussion together. Remember, knowledge is our greatest weapon. Join the community, and let's unravel the mysteries of our time. Click the sign up button now and be a part of this journey. Imagine a world on the brink of collapse. It's not a science fiction movie. It's our world. Wars once restricted to distant borders now echo ominously close to us. Nuclear tension, the fragility of the Middle East, conflicts in Europe and Asia. A powder keg ready to explode. A single mistake, a spark, and millions of lives can be taken in an instant. Can you feel the pressure? What about pandemics? We have barely recovered from a global crisis that has paralyzed the world, and new virus variants are already lurking in the shadows, ready to strike. What if the next pandemic is even more lethal? What if biotechnology, that tool of progress, is corrupted and used to create a devastating biological weapon, capable of decimating entire populations before we even realize the danger? What would we do? We cannot ignore the signs of nature. Earthquakes that shake cities, hurricanes that devastate communities, floods that submerge homes, wildfires that consume everything in their path. Scientists warn us, climate change is getting out of control. Regions that were once habitable turning into deserts, the scarcity of resources worsening. The Earth seems to be reacting with fury, as if it is defending itself from an attack. Are you paying attention to the signs? But is all this just a coincidence? A series of random events? Or is there a bigger plan behind all this? Ancient prophecies, biblical texts have warned us for centuries of a time of chaos and destruction that would precede the rise of a global leader. A leader who would bring a false peace, but who, in fact, would lead us to slavery. Are we living this prophecy now? Think about it. Wars intensifying, pandemics spreading, natural disasters multiplying, the global economy on the verge of collapse. It's not just bad news, it's pieces of a grim puzzle falling into place, and the puzzle reveals a terrifying picture, the world on the brink of the abyss. But what can we do? How can we prepare for what is to come? If you are feeling lost, afraid, confused, know that you are not alone. Many of us are waking up to the reality that something is happening, something big, something that can change everything. And the key to understanding what is happening lies in the ancient prophecies. But make no mistake, this is not a fairy tale. It is a call to action. This is not just another video about the end of the world. It is an invitation for you to investigate, to question, to discover the truth for yourself. Because the truth, as frightening as it is the only thing that can set us free. So get ready to dive into the depths of the prophecies and find out what's really going on. Are you ready for the truth? The feeling that something is wrong, that the world is falling apart, is real. Uncertainty hangs in the air and fear settles in our hearts. But we cannot allow ourselves to be paralyzed by fear. We need to act, inform ourselves, prepare ourselves. And the first step is to understand what the ancient prophecies have to tell us, because in them we can find the answers we are looking for. What if I told you that there is a plan for all this? What if I told you that the chaos we are witnessing is not random, but part of a strategy to get us to a certain place? A place where we will be controlled, manipulated, enslaved. Would you believe me? Maybe not. But what if I showed you the evidence? Would you be willing to open your mind and see the truth? We are living in a crucial moment in history, a moment that can define the future of humanity. And the choice is ours. We can ignore the signs and walk blindly into the abyss, or we can awaken, inform ourselves, and prepare ourselves for what is to come. The decision is yours. But remember, time is running out. This is not the time to hide, to be afraid. It is the time to act, to unite, to seek the truth, because together we can resist, together we can build a better future. Together, we can prevent the world from collapsing. Are you with me? The world is changing rapidly. Every day, new crises arise, new threats are revealed. But in the midst of the chaos, there is a light of hope. The hope that we can learn from our mistakes, that we can build a fairer and more sustainable future. But for that, we need to be prepared. We need to understand what is happening, and we need to act now. Don't let fear paralyze you. Don't let uncertainty consume you. Use fear as fuel for action. Use uncertainty as a springboard for the search for truth, because the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. And when you find it, you will be free. History is being written now, and you have the opportunity to be part of it. Don't be a passive bystander. Be an agent of change. Be a warrior of truth. Be a builder of a better future. The world needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Believe it or not, the pieces are moving, events are unfolding, and the clock is ticking. The question is not whether the world will change, but how it will change, and whether you'll be ready to face this change. So get ready, because the journey is just beginning, and what's to come will surprise you. This is the moment of truth, the moment to face reality head-on and make a decision. Will you stay asleep or will you wake up? Will you keep ignoring the signs or will you start paying attention? Will you continue to be afraid or will you find the courage to fight? The choice is yours. But remember, the future is in your hands. Don't underestimate the power of information. Knowledge is the key to freedom, and freedom is the key to survival. So, seek knowledge, get informed, question everything, and never stop seeking the truth, because the truth is our greatest weapon. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. There is a growing community of people who are awakening to the truth and coming together to build a better future. Join us. Share your ideas, share your experiences, share your hope, because together we are stronger. The world is on the verge of collapse, but there is still time to change the course of history. There is still time to build a better future. But to do so, we need to act now. We need to unite. We need to seek the truth. And we need to believe that it is possible. Because if we believe, we can accomplish anything. What if the most widely read book in history, the Bible, was a map to our future? I'm not talking about religion, but about codes, about frighteningly accurate prophecies. Could it be that the answers to the chaos we are experiencing are hidden in its pages? Think of Matthew 24. Jesus, one of the greatest spiritual leaders in history, warning about wars, famines, pestilences, earthquakes, and he calls it the beginning of sorrows. Pains of what? Of a new world being born or of a dying world? What do you think? The Apocalypse, a book full of symbolism, describes an antichrist, a charismatic figure who emerges from chaos, promising peace and security. But behind the mask, a tyrant thirsty for control. Does it sound like fiction? Maybe not. History is littered with leaders who have used the crisis to rise to absolute power. Imagine a world where you can't buy or sell without a brand. The Apocalypse speaks of this. Does it sound surreal? But think about today's technology: facial recognition, data tracking, digital currencies. We are building, without realizing it, the tools for totalitarian control. What if technology was the key to the fulfillment of prophecy? Artificial intelligence, global surveillance, digital money. All of this, in the wrong hands, can turn into a weapon of oppression. What would you do if your freedom was threatened? I'm not saying that the Bible is an instruction manual, but the similarities between what she describes and what we are experiencing are striking. Wars, disasters, technological control. Was it just a coincidence or a sinister plan unfolding before our eyes? Forget dogmas and literal interpretations. What matters is the meaning behind the words. The Antichrist does not have to be a horned demon. It can be a skilled political leader, a tech guru, a charming philanthropist, someone who convinces us that he is the solution when in fact he is the problem. Prophecy is not a destiny. It's a warning, a call to wake up and act. We cannot change the past, but we can influence the future. And the first thing to do is to understand what is happening. What if the mark of the beast was not a chip, but an ideology, a way of thinking that blinds us to the truth and makes us subservient to the system? Are we being marked without realizing it? What the Bible is trying to tell us is that power corrupts, that the quest for absolute control leads to tyranny, and that we need to be vigilant to protect our freedom. It's not about religion, it's about survival. What if the return of Jesus was not a literal event, but an awakening of consciousness, an inner transformation that allows us to see the truth and resist oppression? Is salvation in ourselves? Don't expect a savior. Be your own savior. Seek knowledge, strengthen your mind, defend your values. Resistance begins within us. What if the end times were just the end of an era, the end of a belief system that no longer serves us? Would we be ready for a new beginning? Don't get caught up in traditional interpretations. Open your mind to new possibilities. The truth can be in unexpected places. What if Revelation was a book about overcoming our fears, about the conquest of our inner freedom? Would we be prepared to face our demons? Don't be afraid of the future. Have the courage to face it. The future is in our hands. What if the Bible was a self-help manual disguised as a religious book? Don't believe everything you hear. Question everything. Seek the truth for yourself. What if the prophecy was about you, about its power to change the world? Don't wait for the end of the world. Start building a new world now. What do Napoleon, Hitler, and Stalin have in common? All rose to power in times of crisis. What if history was about to repeat itself? Are we once again opening the door to an authoritarian leader? Imagine a world in chaos. Wars, pandemics, hunger, unemployment. People are desperate for security, for stability, for someone to tell them what to do. And in this scenario, a charismatic leader emerges with easy solutions to complex problems. Would you trust him? The idea of a world government is not new. The UN has been around for decades, and many advocate the creation of a unified global system to deal with crises. Sounds logical, right? But who would control this government, and how to ensure that it does not become a global dictatorship? What if the pandemic was just an excuse to accelerate the creation of this world government? A pretext to centralize power in the hands of a few? Have you ever stopped to think about it? The problem is not the idea of global cooperation, but the concentration of power. Once a leader has control over everything, economy, technology, health, safety, how can we stop him from abusing that power? The Bible warns us about the Antichrist, a leader who will use his power to enslave humanity. He will be seen as a savior, but in fact, he will be a tyrant. What if that leader is already among us, waiting for the right moment to act? Think about the elections. We see populist leaders gaining traction around the world, promising miraculous solutions to complex problems. They exploit people's fear, anger, frustration, and without realizing it, People are giving up their freedoms in exchange for false promises. What if the Antichrist was not an individual, but a system, an ideology that spread surreptitiously, controlling our minds and our behaviors? Are we being manipulated without realizing it? The danger is not the leader himself, but the system that allows him to rise to power. A system based on inequality, injustice, exploitation. We need to change this system before it's too late. Don't wait for a savior to come and set us free. Liberation is in our hands. We need to unite, organize, resist oppression, and we need to start now. What if the real threat wasn't a political leader but technology? Algorithms that control our lives, artificial intelligence that makes decisions for us, constant surveillance that invades our privacy. Are we becoming slaves to technology? We need to use technology to our advantage, to connect, inform ourselves, organize ourselves. But we need to be aware of the dangers of surveillance and control. We need to protect our digital freedom. What if the Antichrist was our own shadow, the part of us that seeks power, control, recognition? We must face our own demons before we can fight the demons of the world. The true leader is not the one who commands, but the one who serves. The one who inspires, who empowers, who liberates. We need leaders who care about the well-being of all, not just their own power. Don't blindly follow any leader. Question everything, think for yourself, make your own decisions. Your freedom of thought is your greatest weapon. What if the future of humanity depended on our ability to resist the temptation of power, to choose freedom over security? Would we be ready to make that choice? Don't let fear overwhelm you. Have the courage to fight for what you believe in. The future is in your hands. The world needs leaders who inspire hope, who promote justice, who defend freedom. Be that leader. What if the Antichrist was just a metaphor for our own destruction, a reflection of our greed, our violence, our lack of compassion? We need to change ourselves before we can change the world. The future is not written. We create it every day with our choices, with our actions. Make choices that promote peace, justice, freedom, build a better future. Do you feel that something is wrong, that things are getting out of hand? Maybe you're not crazy. Maybe you're just paying attention. The signs are everywhere. The global economy is on the verge of collapse. Inflation skyrockets, unemployment increases, public debt explodes. It seems that we are heading for an even greater crisis than that of 2008. Are you prepared for what's to come? Millions of people go hungry every day. Food shortages worsen, prices rise, inequality increases. Will we witness an unprecedented humanitarian crisis? Digital surveillance intensifies. Governments and companies track every move, every thought, every purchase. Your privacy is being violated. Do you feel safe? Persecution of religious groups is increasing around the world. Intolerance, hatred, violence spread. Religious freedom is threatened. Are you willing to defend your faith? Wars and rumors of war continue to grow. The Middle East is in flames. Tension between nuclear powers is rising. The threat of a global conflict hangs in the air. Are you afraid? What if all of this was part of a larger plan? A strategy to control us, manipulate us, enslave us? Would you believe it? Technological advances are allowing us to create a better world, but also giving us the tools for our own destruction. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, nanotechnology, all of this can be used for good or for evil. What will be our choice? Digital money is replacing physical cash. Transactions become traceable, control increases. Are you willing to give up your privacy for the sake of convenience? Fake news spreads like wildfire, manipulating public opinion, creating division and hatred. The truth becomes harder and harder to find. Do you know who to trust? What if the climate crisis was a hoax, a tool to control us, tax us, force us to live differently? Have you ever questioned the official narrative? Governments are increasing their powers, restricting our freedoms, limiting our rights. Democracy is under threat. Are you willing to fight for your freedom? Cancel culture spreads, silencing dissenting voices, punishing those who think differently. Freedom of expression is in danger. Are you willing to defend your opinion? What if the pandemic was a test, a dress rehearsal for something even bigger? Would we be prepared for the next crisis? The media bombards us with negative news, leaving us afraid, desperate, powerless. Are you allowing the media to control your mind? The educational system indoctrinates us, teaches us to obey, to follow the rules, not to question. Are you teaching your children to think for themselves? What if the truth was hidden in plain sight? Would it be enough to open your eyes to see it? Are you willing to see the truth, even if it is painful? Don't be a passive bystander. Be an agent of change. Get informed, question everything, defend your values. The future is in your hands. What if the apocalypse were not a future event, but a process that is already happening? A radical transformation of society, culture, human consciousness. Would we be ready for this transformation? The world is changing rapidly. The signs are everywhere. The question is not if something will happen, but when and how. Are you prepared? The world is in crisis. What now? What can we do? Give up? Despair, or fight? The choice is ours. The Bible teaches us that preparation is not only physical but also spiritual. We need to strengthen our faith, our hope, our love. We need to connect with something bigger than ourselves. Do you have faith? Believe it or not, you have a role to play. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. You can make a difference. Don't underestimate its power. Get informed. Question everything. Seek the truth. Do not accept anything as absolute truth. Think for yourself. Connect with like-minded people. Create a support network, a community of resistance. Together we are stronger. Prepare yourself physically. Learn survival skills. Stock up on food and water. Protect your health. Be ready for the worst. Protect your mind. Avoid negativity, fear, hatred. Cultivate positive thoughts, hope, love. Your mind is your greatest asset. Defend your freedom. Fight against oppression, injustice, tyranny. Don't allow anyone to control you. Share the truth. Awaken others. Show them what's going on. Help them prepare. What if the antichrist was defeated by love, by compassion, for unity? We need to cultivate these virtues in ourselves. Don't fall into the trap of deception. The antichrist will be persuasive, charming, convincing. It will seem to be the perfect solution to the world's problems, but he is a farce. Keep hope. Even in the darkest moments, remember that light always conquers darkness. Believe in a better future. What if the key to our salvation lay in our ability to forgive, to love our enemies, to overcome hatred with love? Don't worry about the end of the world. Focus on building a new world, a world based on peace, justice, freedom. What if the real apocalypse was an opportunity, a chance to rebuild society, to create a better future, to evolve as human beings? Remember, you are not alone. There are millions of people awakening to the truth and coming together to build a better future. Join us. What if the answer was within us, in our capacity to love, to forgive, to create, to dream? Do not be afraid. Have faith, have hope, have love. The future is in our hands. What if the ultimate plan was our awakening, our transformation, our evolution? Would we be ready? The world needs you, of your love, of your hope, of your courage. Answer the call. What if paradise was here on earth waiting to be created? Would it be enough for us to open our hearts and join our hands? Don't wait for the end of the world. Start building a new world now. The future is ours. Believe, love, fight, and never give up.